It's been quite a whirlwind of 2 years for me, I won't lie. And before I was a librarian, I was an educator and education researcher with a focus on early literacy development. So my library is in Lake Hiawatha, which is an unincorporated community within Parsippany, Morris County in northern New Jersey. And on this slide, you will see our library building on the left and Morris County highlighted in red on the right. We're a branch library that serves about 11,000 people and part of the larger Parsippany library system that serves about 56,000 residents. We're a high immigrant community per the 2020 census. We have about 40 residents that identified as foreign born. And through my own interaction with patrons, I know that there are at least 23 different languages spoken among our families, including Hindi, Gujarati, Tamil, Kannada, and Spanish. So a little bit about my project. The CLEL mini grant was one component of it. When I became the full-time children's librarian, one of the first projects I wanted to complete was an overhaul of our early literacy backpacks. They're one of our most popular collections, but at the time I noted that they weren't well maintained. Many of the materials weren't developmentally appropriate, and they were difficult to keep track of at home just because there were so many items in one backpack. Like we had flashcards with 50 cards in them. We had game pieces with games with 60 pieces in them. So that collection was started in 2017 with about 25 backpacks. And they were developed with a combination of our Friends of the Library donation and some of the withdrawn books from our collection, which I was not nuts about. So pictured on the right are some photos of the bag's content list. This was at the start of the revamp. As you can see, I wrote some ideas, some pointed notes, had a bit of fun with it, frustration with it, but yes. So in the summer of 2023, our director gave us $2,000 in our initial revamp. My overall goal, which is still in progress, is to develop a collection of 35 packbacks that encourage family literacy, focuses on early literacy skills and concepts, as well as fine motor skill development. In researching the materials for this, I also was thinking of the end-to-end checkout. Like, as I said on the previous slide, the backpacks had a lot of large quantity items in them. And I wanted to choose items that were not so unwieldy because families can't keep track of them. They were a pain to check in for our staff. So I believe I found a good balance among the number and quality of the books, as well as toys and puzzles. Each bag has 4 to 5 books, both board books and picture books. And the toys and the puzzles were the trickiest part for me. For puzzles, I didn't want anything more than 20 pieces other than the alphabet, which is obviously 26. And magnetic puzzles really helped with this. And for puzzles that did come in pieces, we utilized Velcro to keep them all together. For me, another important factor was durability. So these bags are popular. Materials are going to be well loved. So books and toys need to hold up. Right now, our current collection has 28 backpacks, 21 from our initial revamp, 3 from our Women's Club of Parsippany, and 4 from the CLEL grant. So so these are some pictures of the first round. Naturally, all the supplies, which you can see the photo on the right, came in when I was out with COVID the first week of October of last year. So I was really chomping at the bit when I saw that because the patrons had been asking for months about where the bags had gone. I wanted to get them back on the shelf. I also wanted my desk space back, but that's a constant problem I have. It's a good problem to have. So this first round hit the shelves in November of last year, and within a week, all but 2 had gone out. So now we come to the CLEL grant, round 2. We received this grant in December of 2024. So during round 1's planning, I had initially planned for 30 bags, but I only had funding for 21. So after more researching for funding, I took a chance on applying for the CLEL grant and was fortunate enough to be selected. So with the funds, I was able to purchase 4 new bags centered around the following themes: birds, nutrition, vegetables, and weather, which the other 2 are on the next slide. We were also able to replace a few well-loved items in 2 of our already existing bags. So in addition to the books and toys, each bag, you can see in these photos, has a easily readable content list. The bag's outside labels show the loan period, which is 14 days here, as well as CLEL's logo to kind of mark the source of where these bags, how these bags were funded. So really with each kit, I focused on having an alphabet and first word books that can be read by the caregiver, even to like the littlest borrower. And the complement of toys, particularly with the vegetable and nutrition kits, can allow for some dramatic play. And I included picture books for early readers and nonfiction texts as well. And here are the vegetable and weather kits as well. So since debuting in May, we received the money, I think, in January. It took a little bit to get all of the supplies and processing together. These 4 bags have already circulated over 30 times. So like May to this is the first week, October, each bag has a 2-week loan period. They've done really well. So pictured above on the left is the very first checkout of our nutrition kit. By a wonderful patron named Camilla. She saw the nutrition kit as I was working on it, and she really, really wanted it. So I tried to finish it up early for her. And she was very, very happy when she came back the next day to check it out. And then on the right is our mascot groundhog, Troy, with our other 3 kits, which was posted on our social media accounts. So what has been like the impact just beyond borrowing? Because the revamped backpacks have also been utilized in ways that I totally didn't expect. I mean, we've seen lots of in-house use for families that aren't necessarily comfortable taking the bags home for like fear of losing the materials, too much to be responsible for, or they just see it as a fun thing to do at the library as opposed to their homes. It's helpful to adult English language learners who also may be self-conscious. Many bags have the themed first 100 words books they can practice with their kids in the library or at home. Our early childhood educators in town borrow them for their lessons, as do a lot of the homeschool parents. Our staff is much happier checking them back in because there are not as many pieces to go through. And I used clear and mesh bags, so like they don't necessarily even have to take them out of the bag to count them up. Most importantly, I think we've set aside funds to maintain those bags. So the board books are going to get broken pretty quickly. We have money to replace them pretty quickly as well. Oh, I made a little typo there. 3 more backpacks, I'm sorry, have been purchased since the CLEL grant in a 3rd round of funding from the Women's Club of Parsippany. And I plan to do the final round of funding research starting next year. So I appreciate you guys listening to my presentation. Please, if you want to know more or just want to follow what we're doing here in Lake Hiawatha, follow us on our Facebook and Instagram accounts at ParlibCats. You can connect with me personally at the email I have listed above or on LinkedIn. I would love to e-meet, keep in touch. And again, thank you to Colorado Libraries for Early Literacy for this incredible opportunity, for all of the work that you guys do and for all of the resources that you provide. And thank you for the chance to talk about this project here today.
Awesome. That's wonderful, Kellyanne. It sounds great.
Thank you.
If we have any questions, if you want to start typing those in while Samantha is setting up, that way she can get hers prepped. But if you have any questions for Kellyanne about those amazing backpacks, please type them in and we'll get her a chance to to come on up. All right, not seeing anything right now. It may just take a couple minutes to type in, and you can save a little bit of time at the end for more questions. Oh, wait, we have, did you create the adult guides to go with the kids?
I did not create adult guides. I guess what do you kind of mean by that? Like strategies for the adults to do with the kids at home?
Yeah, like, how to engage with the material, like questions to ask, like how this is supporting your child's learning, things like that.
Okay. No, I did not.
All right, Samantha, are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm all set. Let me just pull this up. Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Samantha Jones, and I am from the Beaver Dam Community Library in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. It's about 45-ish minutes north of Madison. And Madison's a pretty big city since it is the capital. So yeah, I'm from Beaver Dam. Our service population is about 33,000. And we do get a lot of people, I mentioned Madison, we'd get a lot of people from Madison who have jobs in Madison that live in Beaver Dam. So we have a whole bunch of different types of people. We have immigrants who are, that's a big population in Beaver Dam. Specifically where our Little Free Library is that I'm talking about in my discussion. So there's a group in Beaver Dam called the Playground Movement, which is this great organization that provides resources to people in our community. For example, they supplied school supplies for 157 children in 2023. And they do most of that with just donations. So the site of the Little Free Library is at the Playground Movement, and it's a little bit away from the library. If someone were to walk to the Little Free Library from our library, it would take about 30 minutes, if probably more if you have children with you. So what we wanted to do is we really wanted to collaborate with the Playground Movement. They had asked us to come and do programs, but sadly, we don't have the staff to do programs specifically at the Playground Movement. I'm the only youth services staff, so it gets pretty busy, especially in summertime. But they had really wanted to collaborate with us, and we really wanted to help them as well, because at the site is that's where a lot of the immigrant population of Beaver Dam lives. So we really wanted to make sure that we helped support people who might not be able to come to the library. So we decided to help fund books for their Little Free Library. So I submitted the grant hoping to get 50 books, but I was able to get 69 books with the grants. And the books really focused on being representative of the population that uses this Little Free Library and the Playground Movement. 70% of the people who attend Playground Movement programs are first generation Latinx. So we really focused on books, and you can kind of see in the example different examples that we did. Like we did the Vamos books, we did a lot of the Pedro books and the Sadiq books. One thing that I did is I for if it came in paperback, we did paperback because the goal was to get as many books into their hands. And yeah, so we really hoped to do that. There's one picture. So we brought them out in June, right before summer reading. And this was on the first day, and she was just so excited to see a book that looked like her. And it's a really great thing to see the kids get so excited about this, because it's so important for them to have books of their own that they can take home. One second. Yes, yeah, it's a really great book. So yeah, she was just super excited. And what we also did is we made sure that we did a little sticker on the inside of each book, in both English and Spanish, since that was the majority of language speakers who would be using the books, that linked to our website. And it also mentions the grant. So the goal is to hopefully get them to go to the website, and they can see all the different tips that the website has. That's really great. So yeah, let's see. And then I'll go back to all the books. We did bring all the books out at once, because we didn't want to limit. So the people at the Playground Movement often use the little free library. So they know about the like leave one, take one. But again, we didn't want to, if they didn't have a book that they could leave, we wanted to make sure that they got the book. That was the biggest goal for that. Let's see if I forgot anything. Yeah, that was actually about it. It was a pretty simple project, but as you can see, it had a really great impact with our community. A lot of people really thanked us for, spending the time and spending funds that we could have done for something in the library, and to provide the books for the children. So yeah, that's kind of all I got.
Well, that sounds fantastic. That's amazing. If anybody has any questions, we can go ahead and get those either typed in or asked, and then we'll ask Sarah Bean Thompson to go ahead and start getting ready so that she can present. And if you have any questions, please let us know. Has the collection stayed consistent, or did you find a lot of the original books are gone and replaced by other books?
A little bit of both. So we didn't want to assume that they were going to bring the books back, because it's important for the kids to, have a book that has characters representative of themselves at home. But we have had people bring the books back and switch them out for other books. So it's pretty even. But as of a few weeks ago, most of the books are gone, which is fine. They can always come back if they want to.
Okay, if you have any more questions, we'll have some time at the end, just in case you didn't get a chance to ask yours now. Looks like Sarah Bean is ready to start up.
Okay. So I'm Sarah Bean Thompson. I'm the Youth Services Manager of the Library Center, which is in Springfield, Missouri, Springfield Greene County Library. Our library system has 10 library locations, and we are a city-county library system. So we serve not just the city of Springfield, but the surrounding Greene County population, which is just under 300,000. And we are the third largest city in Missouri, and we are Southwest Missouri. So we also will have a lot of patrons traveling from Arkansas, Oklahoma, the Branson area, which is about 40 minutes away, to come to our libraries for larger events. So whenever we have people traveling, we are a passport acceptance location, so you can apply for your passport here. So we get a lot of people from the outlying community as well. So we have a lot of travel to our branch. Library Center is the largest location. It's been here 25 years this year, and it was rehabbed from a lumberyard store to be a library. And so our library is kind of awkward looking. It's very big, but it wasn't ever intended to be a library. So you can see this is our part of our children's area. And we have had the Play and Learn Centers, the Early Literacy Initiative of Racing to Read. We've had that set up for about 14 years. And we finally found a good configuration that puts that play area in a spot where our families are kind of together with the books and materials that we wanted them to engage with. But we still found that we wanted to have something more. We wanted to have more dramatic play and pretend play, and have something for our older patrons as well, because our Play and Learn Centers really veer towards the toddler and preschool crowd. And in 2019, we had plans to apply for a grant and expand our play areas at all of our locations. And we all know what happened, and that did not occur. So we were, one of our other locations, our second largest location, was able to get a grant to add some pretend play areas to their branch, but we were not. So we decided to apply for the CLEL grant to make a mini location for pretend play. I was really inspired by a couple of different websites and Instagram printable places. I will say, for full disclosure, Wife Kids Life, that is my sister. She has an in-home daycare and she does amazing creative play. So I would watch some of her Instagram videos or her printables that she would make, and I was like, that's such a great idea. How can I adapt that for the library for a larger use? Because she's got, 10 kids in her daycare. I've got many more than that coming to play with my kids area. So I took a lot of her ideas that she hadn't thought about how I could adapt that. And then she also referred me to the Magic Playbook, which is a great resource. And there is a book pretend play workshop for kids, and that's very adaptable for library use as well. So we took those ideas of how could we make a pretend play station that we could switch out, and it would be something that would change and also appeal to some of our older, preschool to second grade, audience. And we came up with our pretend play area with the CLEL grant. This, the slide with the giraffe, that is over by our J fiction area, which is on the other side of the Play and Learn Center. And initially that's where we put our Play and Learn area. In 2021, we decided we still weren't really doing a lot of programming, so let's turn our puppet stage into an ice cream stand. And we put it here in front of the giraffe just to spread things out and kind of separate things, for social distancing. And we found that it worked really well and the kids loved it, but it was really close to our desk. Our desk is just to the left of the giraffe there. And so there's a walkway into the J fiction area. And we found that when the kids would come and play, they would pull the toys out and they would block the walkways into the story hour room, the J fiction, and it just wasn't really working. So we liked the setup. We liked the idea of we got this grocery store type stand, and we already had the stand with the little buckets, but we decided let's move it somewhere else. And then my brilliant staff came up with the idea of let's just move it over with the play area. So we ended up finding a good spot in the corner. So we have our young play, and then we kind of have our older play area tucked in the back there, which is over now by our nonfiction and early readers. So it kind of fits in age-wise as well. Currently, it is supposed to be a construction site, and you can see some tools there, but they've also pulled over some toys from our Play and Learn area. So it's half construction site, half bakery at the moment, but we do have some blocks up that they can build with. They tend to pull some of the toys over from the Play and Learn Center and play with everything. Both of the Play and Learn Center gets switched out every month, and we've been trying to switch out the pretend play, dramatic play area about every 2 months. So we tried to come up with different areas to engage with them. And we thought maybe the kids would be upset if we switched, but they really like seeing what is new. And we've had a lot of different ideas of stations that we've already done. You saw that we did the flower stand and the farmer's market. The wheelbarrow that we had from that was incredibly popular. The ice cream is always very ice cream and popsicles. We've also done a grocery store, a food truck, a pet vet. We did a wilderness adventure and camping to go with our summer reading theme. So we had like Melissa and Doug toys that were about the national parks, and then some s'mores sets and some lanterns, and the kids had lots of fun with that. In the future, we would like to switch out and have some more creative play ideas. So we have some other ideas of things that we want to do. You know, it's just, again, using the supplies that we have. Most of what we got were learning resources toys that we had purchased online. And sadly, money doesn't go very far when you're buying toys that are going to be durable and sustainable for a large group. So we're hoping that we can continue to buy more. We have had some toy breakage and some toy loss, but not as much as we were anticipating. So we have been able to repurpose some of our toys for something else and make it another, work for another pretend play idea. And then we use a lot of the printables and other things that we have on hand that we can add to those play areas. It's worked really well the way we wanted it to. As we, before COVID, we were seeing families come and just hang out at the library, and they were engaging with each other. And then we lost that, and we lost a lot of our library traffic, especially with our kids in those, you know, post 2020 years. And in the last year, we debuted the play area. We had the fake ice cream stand with the puppet stage, but we debuted this full play area of spring break of last year, so around March. And it's really drawn in a lot of our patrons and brought people that have not come to the library before, that now have, you know, they have younger kids, they've not visited, now they're coming back, people that are moving into the area, and they're finding out that the library is a place for them to come and play and be engaged with their kids, with their families, with their friends, and to find new friends. We've had a lot of people that meet because their kids are playing at the play area, and then they start to talk and they realize they have kids the same age. They come to story time, they're making friends. It's a great meetup place. So it's a place for our community to go and engage. And we found that it's really brought patrons in to just have a space to hang out and be in the library and engage with the community. So it's worked very well for drawing our patrons back in, and our kids are really enjoying the dramatic play area. So we are very grateful to CLEL for helping us get our play space up and going.
And we're very glad to have been able to help with that. As people might be typing or asking questions, we'll have Alison start to get ready for the last of the presentations for the CLEL grants. And before I forget, just to let you guys know, we will be having another round of grants. You should be getting emails and notifications around mid-October. And then the deadline will be November 15th. So if you want to start planning for that, EA. In the meantime, does anyone have any questions for Sarah on this as we get Alison all prepped up? If not, we can go ahead and help with Alison, and then we'll have a couple minutes left at the very end for any questions that you didn't get answered before. All right, Alison, you ready to go? Your mic is off. Still not hearing you. There we go.
Can you hear me? Okay, I am so sorry. I actually have never had a problem with Zoom. So of course, the one time that I wanted to make it really nice, it doesn't work. So, and I've also, my lights have just gone off in here, but I guess you can probably see me. So, are you ready for me?
Yep, all right.
Okay. Well, my name's Alison Greiner, and I am from a small town in Iowa. So we are in the southeast corner of Iowa. And I have a little presentation that I think if I can turn you around, you can see it sort of on my computer. So here's our library in this picture. And I started working at this library not this past April, but the April before, and was a music teacher for 21 years in the Iowa school system in Iowa City, which is a little bit bigger than the area, a lot bigger. We're a town of about 7,000, so it's pretty small, but I had come from an area that was, pretty multicultural, and I've spoken Spanish in my life. I speak Spanish. I'm not like the world's greatest at it, but I've always enjoyed it and realized quickly that once I got here to Washington, I was the only librarian that really spoke Spanish, or there just wasn't really much available for our community for that. And we have kind of a higher Hispanic population. So I was really interested I've been a music teacher for many years. And so I was loving doing the We Read, which is our regular story time. And so I noticed that there was a need to connect with our Hispanic families and patrons. And I knew that, I'd seen some projects that we had done and was looking for some other projects, and decided on the bilingual story time. So that was the project that I was super excited to receive this grant and create. So the biggest thing that this has done for me is given me the opportunity to build some relationships with our Spanish speaking patrons. And some of the ways that I did that in the beginning, when I got the grant, I went to some of the mothers and said, I'm super excited because we have this grant to do a story time, and I would love for you to help me, plan it and kind of come up with some ideas. And so it was really special because I was able to meet with some of them and kind of talk about some of their traditions and what was important to them, because I had done some research about bilingual story time and learned a few things about that. So throughout I would say maybe I started in probably the spring, kind of working with them, and then thinking about some of the things that I wanted to include in the story time. The material that I had read was that you can be a Spanish speaker and also have lead the story time, or you can do it with another person. And so because I had the connection with those ladies, I decided that, I would kind of work on this with one of them doing the book in Spanish, and myself doing the English part of it. So that worked out really well because we have one woman that speaks a little bit more English. And so she was able to help me out a lot. And just kind of trying to remember that it wasn't a Spanish class, and kind of have all of the different parts in the story time were kind of the things that I was working on when I was planning it. And we would usually pick a book in English and a book in Spanish. I used the money to I purchased a lot of board books in Spanish. We have a lot of babies that come to our story time. In our regular story time, we'll sometimes get around 40 people, which is quite a number in the summer, it can be up to 60, but in the school year, it's a little less. So we've been getting around 40 people. And so with this new bilingual story time, I was trying to, invite those families and let them know that this was an opportunity for kind of another story time, that they didn't have to know Spanish. And, we speak in both languages, and we really just kind of talk a lot and get to know each other beyond doing just the books and the activities for the children, and singing and playing with things that we regularly have in our regular story time. But I was also able to purchase these little kits. They're little manipulatives. So it's for the Spanish alphabet. And so the way that I use these is sort of like you would if you were using like a felt board, which I do a lot in Spanish and English also. But these are nice because I can hold the item, and sometimes I'll put it in a little box that I have, and maybe the story will be around the item. And sometimes we just talk about the item in Spanish, or we talk about it in English, and we don't really we try to make it very natural and just very easy so that everyone feels very comfortable, and we ask questions, or we just don't know what we don't make it super rigid, because we want them to all feel like they're a part of it. I do have here, this was the outline, and I'm sure, I don't know if you can see it, but this was the outline that I started with. I had read there's this website called I believe it's Jayberry, and there was a really nice article in there that talked about some of the things that you can include. And so I tried to go off of their format, and also around the time frame that we had for our lesson. But some of the books that I bought with the money from the grant were books that would have the songs in English and Spanish, and some of them were traditional songs. So it was kind of fun to, do the different finger plays and activities that were in there. We've already had, I think it's maybe 4 or 5 story times, and they've been very successful, and we've had a lot of fun. So we've taken some, like I said, some traditional songs. We've used a parachute, and we've just kind of done the different words for up, down, in and out, and kind of just, done some play. And depending on how many are there, that's kind of been the challenge so far. We've had, the most that we've had was 14. Today we had the story time, and there were only 2, and they were little babies. So that was fun in its own way, because we were able to, this is my sweet little guy, Emiliano. He's been one of my joys. And this is the gal that helps me with the story time. And so it's just, we just kind of go with whatever, how everyone's, wanting, what their needs are for that day. And it's been a really awesome project. And I think that one of the best things that it's done for our community is that it is, bringing those folks in and making them feel comfortable, making them, feel like I want them in on the process of planning, different activities as well as this story time. I've been emailing them in Spanish, which has been interesting for me, because a lot of times I, understand and speak Spanish well, but, emailing it is a different thing. And so they know that I'm working on that, and they're also working on their English. So it's kind of cool, because we're working on it together. But we successfully have gotten a bunch of things together, and we're going to be doing a ofrenda for Dia de los Muertos, and that is going to be starting. We're putting that together this next week. So just hearing about their different traditions and why they do that, and then at the end of the month we're having a program where they're going to talk about Dia de los Muertos to the community. So I'm excited about that, because we're going to have the ofrenda, which is the altar of the for that, at our library in the front window, and so everybody can see it. So I just feel really happy that I was able to, purchase some more items to use specifically for this story time, because it felt like that was a really served population. And it's really awesome to be able to, be making all of these connections. And I'm just very, very thankful to CLEL, because we wouldn't have been able to do that without this grant. So yeah, it's been pretty cool and lots of fun.
Sounds awesome. All right, so anybody have any questions for Allison or any of the others? So we do have a few more minutes remaining before the end of the session. Or maybe even just questions about how to get the grant. If you have questions about what tips or tricks you think that they might have to go ahead and share with you, that if you want to do your own grant, anything that you have, any ideas that you would like to share, or questions that you have, would be great. So yes, for the grant itself, there will be a form that's sent out. It's a simple Google form. It includes kind of like your background, what you're asking for, what you need, what you are expecting to get from the grant, as well as a budgetary form that you'll attach to it as part of it. It's in the form itself. So you fill out the budget form of what you anticipate to the budget to be. We usually, like last year, we had about 20 some people apply for the grant, and there's 4 grants that are available for $500 each. That's a great question, ladies. Do you guys have any feedback from patrons about your experiences so far?
Oh, yes. Just the feedback. I mean, we've had the backpack. So I did a revamp of our early literacy backpacks, and the time I pulled the old ones off the shelf and put the new ones back was a very rough time for my patrons. They kept asking me, when are they coming back? When are they coming back? So they have been really excited to be able to take them out again and see some of the revamped themes, see some new themes. So we've gotten nothing but excellent feedback on them.
I don't know if I'm still muted or not. Can you hear me?
Can hear you just
Yes.
fine.
I have had so much feedback from our community, and just a lot of people have come in and they just love the connections that we're able to make. And I think that it's just been a really good I don't know, moving forward, we have our Spanish collection and we've had things translated in Spanish, but really reaching that population. I've seen so many Hispanic as well as non-Hispanic people coming in and just thanking me or thanking, our library. And I've given so much credit to this grant because I knew I wanted to do it, but, this was just the, impetus that I needed to get things going. And it's really just, it's really been a neat thing for our community. So the families are really starting to grow that are coming, and it's just kind of getting started. So I'm hoping that we'll have more and more that are coming soon. So it's been really pretty cool.
When we put our toys out, when we initially did the ice cream stand with the puppet stage, if we took it away, the kids would like cry and ask where it is. So it became a staple of our library. So having that pretend area has now, I want to go to the library with the ice cream. I want to go to the library with this, and it's become something they've associated with our library now. It's just another thing that they get to do.
Yeah, and kind of answering, there's another question about the future of the programs. We've been doing a massive weed of our collection. So we've been donating weeded materials to the library, to the Little Free Library as well. But, they're not in the new condition. They're not, they're not always representative of the people who attend the playground movement programs or the Little Free Library. So this was just really great to be able to curate a collection that was specifically for these people that use the Little Free Library. So.
For our play area, we would like to expand and have a more sturdy spot. There's something, I think it was Constructive Playthings has a really big play area that has been designed that is really designed for pretend play, and you can switch things out. And we would like to get something that hopefully will last, and also just sturdier toys, or even some play structures built specifically for the library would be awesome.
I had mentioned during my time that I do have plans to hopefully expand the collection to a total of 35 backpacks, but I currently have 28. I just need to find funding and actually come up with a few themes for the last 7. I have like potential ones in mind, but nothing defined quite yet.
Well, fantastic. If we don't have any more questions, or if you have anything else you want to chat about, if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and release you guys a little bit early. The next session starts at 2:50. So if you want to take a break right now, get some water, we'll see you soon. Otherwise, if you just want to hang out and chat with our grant winners and maybe get some ideas for your own grant, that would be fantastic as well. We look forward to seeing you, and thank you so much for coming.